Hey guys, welcome to our channel Coders Arcade. In today's video, we are going to create a resource file. So we are going to create this resource file using everything that we have learned till now in Robot Framework, and this resource file will be used in a next video that will be on data driven testing. So basically this resource file I am making is going to be used in the data driven testing that is going to be in our next video. So what is the data driven testing? Basically, I'll give you an idea how a data driven testing is done. Basically, whenever you execute same test case multiple times, giving it multiple values, giving it multiple sources of values or given or different data, then that is what we call data driven testing. So to do this data driven testing, now this data that we are going to provide to that data driven testing, this data can be stored into either same script, or you can save it externally as a Excel file or a CSV file. So here in this video, I am going to talk about the first method of saving this data into a same script, which is in PyCharm as well. So we are going to create a robot file. So that robot file will be the resources file. And in that resources file, that robot file, we are going to keep all the resources at one place, and then we are going to use those resources in other test case file, in other robot framework file that we are going to see in our next upcoming video for data driven testing. So let us begin by creating our resource file. So this is my projects panel, and here as you can see, till now we were working on automation directory. Now I have created a resource directory as well. So right now this resource directory is empty. How I have created this resource directory? I can just right click onto the empty space here into our robot framework directory, main directory, and here I can just right click onto that, and here I can just choose directory, and in this directory I can just give whatever name I want to give for our new directory. So this way I have created this resources directory. Once you have created this resources directory, I'm going to save all my resources here, and I'm going to create another data driven testing robot file, and that we are going to use the data driven testing, or we can do the data driven testing in that file, and we are going to extract the resources for that file from this resource file. So let us create the resource file here. So already I'm in my resources directory, and here in my resources directory I'm going to right click onto it. I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to click onto this file, and let us say this file name should be resources.robot. So again, this resources file will be the same a robot file, and I'm just going to press enter, and by this we have created our resources.robot file. So this is again our robot file as well, the same robot file that we have been using in our earlier videos till now, the same robot file in which we were writing all our test cases till now. This is the same robot file, just the name of the robot file is resources.robot. So here we are going to save all our resources for our other file. So let us start by creating this different sections that we have in robot file. So first section is the settings section, the other section is the variable section, then test cases section, and then the keyword section. So let us fill them one by one. So let us first fill the settings section. So in the settings section we create our library. So we have library, and then we have Selenium library. So this way we have stored our Selenium library here. With this we have loaded our Selenium library, and after this setting section has been done, we are going to move on to a variable section. So let us go on and make a variable section here. So in this variable section we are going to use two variables in this case. So first variable will be for URL, and the another variable will be for browser. So let us create our first variable. So how we created our first variable? Our normal variable, we used dollar, and in curly braces we are going to write URL. So in this now URL we are going to give the URL. So let me tell you in where we are going to do the data driven testing. So first of all, I am going to open my Chrome, and here I am going to write admin demo.nop commerce. So this is what the website that we are going to use in our test. So this is where we are going to perform our data driven testing. So here we are going to give different data entries here, and we are going to click on to login button. Multiple times we are going to do this. So every time in our first test, we are going to give some email and password, and then we are going to log in onto this. After that, we are going to click on to logout button, and then we are going to again in the second test case we are going to give some wrong details, and then we are going to click onto this again and again. So we'll be doing this repeatedly multiple times in this website. So this is where we are going to do our data driven testing. So I'm just going to copy the URL, and I'm just going to paste the URL. We don't want all this. So this is the URL that we are going to use. Then we are going to create another variable which is for browser. So browser, and we are going to specify the browser, which is Chrome browser in this case. Now let us move on to the other section. So we are not going to create the test cases section in this case, just because we are going to write our test cases in another file, that is the data driven file that we are going to create in the next video. So we are just going to directly jump on to keyword section. So now in this keyword section, we are going to remember all of that that we have learned till now in our robot framework series, and we are going to use that, and we are going to create some set of keywords that we are going to use in our main file. So let us start by opening our browser. So first of all, I'm going to give this keyword a name as let us say opening my browser, or opening my browser. So in using this keyword, we are going to open a browser. So for that, we are going to write the code for the opening browser in this keyword. So opening in browser indentation, we are just going to give our command as open browser, and here I'm going to specify this URL right here. So this URL, and I can just specify the browser as well. So first the URL and the browser. So what this is going to do is, when I specify opening my browser, this is going to execute this code. So open browser, then it is going to go to this URL, and it is going to open this onto our Chrome browser. Then after opening it, this is going to maximize the browser window. So this way we have created our first keyword. So now let us say we are going to create our next keyword. So let us say let's create another keyword for closing a browser. So I'll just write here closing my browsers, and in the indentation of closing my browsers, I'm going to just write close all browsers. So now what this will do, I'll just correct this like that, and here we have created our two variables here. So sorry, two keywords here. So opening our browser and then closing my browser. So these two keywords, when we call these keywords, this keyword, if I write in our main file opening my browser, so this will execute this whole keyword, and when I want to close my browser, I just going to give this keyword, and this will close all our browsers. So now let us create our next keyword. So now let's create a next keyword for this login page. So this keyword which I am going to create is just for backup. Why is it for backup? Now suppose if our test case fails in between, then what will happen, that if we want to reopen the same URL, every time we don't have to give this keyword here, this opening browser keyword. Otherwise it is going to open another browser, and in that browser it is going to open this URL. So we don't want that. So for backup, I'm just going to write here, first of all, logging into page, and in this we are going to just use the go to keyword, and we are going to write here the URL. I'm just going to give this URL keyword, this URL variable here. So what this will do is, this is just the optional keyword. You can have this or you can delete this, it's up to you. I'm just given this keyword just for backup. If in any case, if our test case fails, then we can just give this logging into page, and this will directly go to our login page instead of reopening our browser again and again. Then we are going to create another keyword for, let's say, inputting our values into the email address and the password. So for that, I am going to write here inputting, let's say, username. So I've created a keyword called inputting username. In this, we are going to write the code for inputting the username here. So for that, I'm going to use arguments again in this case. So arguments, so for that, arguments is written in this square brackets. So you need to remember that arguments, and then we are going, what argument we are going to use? We are going to use the username argument. So I'm just going to create a username variable here, and then we are going to inspect our this email address. So I'm going to inspect this, and I'll just say this is the highlighted code for that. What I am going to do is I'm going to find the ID of this box. So where is the ID? Here ID is email. So I'm just going to copy this ID. I'm just going to right click onto this. I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to just directly write, give my command for inputting text, which is input text, and then I'm going to specify the ID. So ID, and then ID is email, and then I'm going to specify my username right here. So this will be our username. So this is the keyword for inputting username. So when I call this inputting username here, it is going to fetch the argument. Whatever argument will be writing onto a test case, that argument will be fetched from the test case, and it is going to be saved into this username, this variable here, and now again this username will be fed into this input text, then the locator here, and the username here. So whatever text or whatever data that is going to be in the username, we are going to write that username onto a test cases, and then that test case in that username will be fed to this username, and this is going to use this locator to write the username onto that email box. Same we are going to do for password as well. So I'm going to write inputting, let's say, password, and here I'm going to write arguments, and again I'm going to create another variable called password, and again I'm going to write here input text, and here I'm going to specify the ID. So ID for password should be password, I guess, hopefully, obviously. Yes, ID for password is password. So I'm going to just right click onto that and copy it, and I'm going to paste it here. So this is a locator, and I'm just going to copy this again, and I'm going to give that username here. Give some space so that it is valid. And here we have created two keywords for our username and password. So till now what this will do is it is going to open the browser, it is going to close the browser, and it is going to go to our login page, and this is going to input our username, and this is for inputting our password. Now let us create another variable for our this login button. So I'm going to inspect this login button, and right here there is no ID or name of this login button. So what I'm going to do is, let me go to my PyCharm here. First let us give this keyword a name as click onto login button, and I'm just going to, or you can just say click login button, and here I'm just going to write here click element, and inside a click element I am going to just give the XPath. So I'm just going to use the relative XPath. I can just right click onto that. I'm going to copy the XPath here. So I'm going to write here XPath, and I'm going to paste the XPath. So right now this is a very long XPath. So if you don't want to write this long XPath, what you can do is you can just go on to selectors hub, and you can just copy the relative XPath for this button, So once you copy the relative XPath for this button, you're just going to paste that relative XPath for this button. Now this relative XPath is much more smaller than the normal XPath, than the full XPath. So if you have selectors up, then you can use the selectors up to copy the relative XPath. Then let us create our next keyword. Let us say, let's create, if we have created the keyword for login button, so let us create for logout button. So logout button, so click logout button. Again, I'm just going to go to my website here and let me just fill it. So this is the given email address and the password is already admin. If I log in onto this page, you will see we have logged in and we need to click onto this logout button. So what we can do is, I can just directly write here simple thing, which is click link and then click link and then log out. So this will find logout button and this will click onto the logout button right away. Then, so this way we have completed almost all our keywords for our resource file. Let us create two more. If I log out, let us create two more keywords for validation of the login page. So suppose if I minimize this, if we are onto this page, now suppose if I accidentally give some wrong password or wrong email address, if I click onto this login, this should be present. This login was unsuccessful should be present. So this error message we are going to see. We are going to validate this. If this message is there, this is going to validate it and this is going to give us that that login is unsuccessful. So here I'm going to write error message should be visible. So this is again the another keyword for error message, and here we can just write page should contain, and page should contain, we are just going to write here this message that we have copied here. So login was unsuccessful, so page should contain login was unsuccessful if the error message is there. If we are performing this test case for our failed or wrong inputs, then this error should be present here in this login was unsuccessful. So we will be using this keyword for the validation of the page when we create test cases for invalid data entry. Let us create one more variable, one more last keyword for our validation of dashboard. So now suppose if our data is correct, so if I log in onto this page, let us check for this dashboard, if this dashboard is present or not. I'm just going to copy this and here I'm just going to write here dashboard should or dashboard page should be visible. Let's say dashboard page should be visible, and here I'm just going to write page should contain and dashboard. So what this will keyword will do, if we write here dashboard page should be visible, so this will validate if the dashboard is present or not when the login is successful. So let us see what we have created. First we have created the settings section in which we have imported our Selenium library, and then we have created the variable section. In this variable section again we have created two variables, and in the two variables, first variable is for the URL, this is the URL, and this is the Chrome browser that we are going to use. Then we have come onto our keyword section. In this keyword section, these are all the keywords that we have created using all the information that we have learned in our Robot Framework series. So first of all, we have created this opening my browser, so every time I don't have to perform the opening browser again and again when we write on multiple test cases. So in a multiple test cases, I will just give this opening my browser one time, and then we are going to call it again and again, so I don't have to write this code repeatedly. Then we are going to close the browser when we want to close the browser, and just give this keyword, and this will close all the browsers that are open for multiple test cases. Now this keyword is really for backup, so it's up to you. You can use this keyword or not. It is up to you. I have just given this keyword just in case for backup. If our keyword, if our test cases fails in between, then we can just use this goto statement to again load our same URL, this same URL in our same browser instead of opening the browser again and again. Then this is the keyword for inputting our values into username and password. So this is for username. So this is going to use the argument for username. This is the username variable that we have created, and whatever data we will be giving onto our main file in that test cases, that will be loaded onto this username first. Then it is going to pass this username to this username variable, which is going to be located onto this email address bar. So this is going to write, or this is going to feed the username into our email address bar, and input text for our inputting text command. And again we have done the same for our inputting password. So I've used id as a locator and then the password variable to fill the password. And then this is for clicking the login button. So click element and then this the relative XPath. So now, as I've told you, there are two XPaths. So this is the so one is the full XPath and this is the relative XPath. So relative XPath is generally shorter, smaller than the full XPath. So we are going to use that for our efficiency. And this is for click logout button. So this is for our logout buttons, clicking onto a logout button once we have logged in into successfully. And then this is the error message should be visible. So now suppose if we are using the test, if we are testing for invalid data entries, so what we can, every time we are going to get an error, so we are going to validate that error using this error message should be visible. It will find for this login was unsuccessful. If page should contain login was unsuccessful, the test will be passed. If it is visible, if this is visible while we are testing for invalid entries, then our test will be passed. Then in our dashboard page should be visible. So in this, once we have logged in successfully, if there is dashboard present, this will validate if we are onto dashboard or not. So this will verify that we have logged in into successfully, and then our test case will be passed. So this is the resource file that we have created for the data driven testing. In our next video, I am going to do the data driven testing, and there we are going to perform multiple action on this website, multiple data entry actions onto this website. Here, let me log out first. So this is the area admin area demo. So we are going to perform data driven test onto this website. Here we are going to use multiple test cases. So let us say multiple test cases for invalid validation. So invalid validation in the sense invalid data entries that we are going to do here in this login page. So when we provide invalid, it should give the message as login was unsuccessful. Or if we do testing for successful login, so it should give us the it should contain the dashboard page and so on. So this is all for this video, guys. This is the code, this is the source code for our resource file. And in our next video, I'm going to perform data driven testing, and we are going to use this resource file, and I'm going to link this resource file to our main test file, so that we are going to use all these keywords that we have created today in this resource file in the data driven testing. So thanks for watching. I hope you have understood the logic behind the resource file in a data driven testing. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. So this is all about this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video, and if you like it, then tell us in the comment section below. If you have any doubts, then post them in the comment section. I will definitely try to clear those doubts. Also, like, share and subscribe to our channel Coders Arcade, and press the bell icon so that you will get a notification when we post our new video. Thank you. Happy learning.